The people who design these cars drive them home at night, just like you do. And when they get there, a lot of them reach for a button most drivers never think about and quietly switch a feature off. Not because it broke, because they know exactly what it's doing. I've spent enough time alongside the techs who fix these cars and the engineers who build them to know what they shut off the moment nobody's trying to sell them anything. Most drivers leave every one of these features running all day, every day, completely convinced the car is helping them. It isn't. A few of these are quietly draining your wallet, and a couple are costing you the engine itself. The one sitting at number 1 is a fluid your car swears will last forever. And it's the very thing rotting your engine from the inside while every gauge on your dash reads perfectly normal. We're working down from the harmless little annoyances all the way to that one, so let's get into it. Number 10, automatic high beams. A little camera up by your mirror watches the road and flips your high beams on and off for you, so you never have to touch the stock. The problem is timing, because that camera reacts a beat slower than a human paying attention. It hangs onto your brights a moment too long and blinds the driver coming the other way, then drops them late when you actually need to see, and on a dark back road it flickers like it can't make up its mind. Here's what the people who work on these cars know. Their own eyes read an oncoming car faster than that sensor ever will. Ride along with a tech at night and watch what they do. They click the automatic system off and run the stock by hand every time because they've seen exactly how late that camera reacts. Switch the auto setting off and control your own high beams the way you always did, and you'll see better, blind fewer people, and stop babying a $290 camera module that's slower than you are. Number 9, rain sensing wipers. A sensor on your windshield decides when your wipers run and how fast, so you never reach for the switch. In a steady rain, it's fine, but step outside of that and it guesses wrong far more than anyone admits. Think back to the last real downpour you drove through. Did the wipers ever lag a step behind the storm or drag bone dry across the glass on a misty morning when you didn't ask them to? That dry swiping is the part that costs you, because a blade scraping a dry windshield wears out fast and hazes the glass over time. The fix is the simplest one on this whole list. Take the wipers off auto and run them yourself. You'll clear the glass exactly when you need it. Your blades will last a full season longer instead of scraping themselves bald, and you'll skip the $24 set you'd otherwise be replacing early. Number 8, auto hold brakes. In stop-and-go traffic, auto hold clamps your brakes for you at every stop so you can rest your foot, then releases the moment you touch the gas. It feels like a small mercy in a long commute, and it is, but it comes with a quiet cost to your brakes. Every time it engages, it presses the pads hard against the rotors and just holds them there. And if those rotors are wet from rain or hot from a long stop, you start getting uneven rust and pad material baked onto the surface. A barber in Cincinnati ran auto hold religiously through city traffic in his 2014 Mazda 3, certain he was saving his brakes by resting his foot. He rolled in with a pedal that pulsed under his shoe and rotors ringed with rust and pad deposits at barely 40,000 miles, a $410 brake job years before he should have needed one. Flip auto hold off when you're crawling through traffic, especially after a wet drive, and let those pads sit away from the rotors between stops the way they were meant to. Number 7. Automatic self-parking. Your car can steer itself into a parking spot now, sliding into a spot while you sit back with your hands in your lap. It's a genuinely impressive party trick, and the people who built it are some of the last people who'd trust it with their own wheels. The whole thing leans on sensors reading curbs and gaps, and when one misjudges a tight spot, it doesn't park gently. It grinds your wheel right into the concrete. Picture two drivers in the same car. One parks by hand without a second thought and never has a problem, while the other leans on self-park until the afternoon it cuts a turn too tight and drags an alloy wheel along the curb, a $235 refinish, plus a gouged tire. Drop a comment below. Would you actually trust your car to parallel park itself with your whole family standing on the sidewalk watching? Be honest down there. Park it yourself, because you're faster than the system anyway, and your wheels and tires stay exactly the way they should. Number 6, lane keep steering assist. This one goes a step past simply warning you that you've drifted. It actively grabs the wheel and tugs you back toward the center of the lane. To be clear, the lane departure warning is worth keeping switched on because that gentle alert when you wander is a real safety net on a long drive. It's the active steering tug that a lot of engineers quietly turn off, and whether you do the same is a personal call. The reason they switch it off is that the assist gets unpredictable exactly where you need certainty. Faded lines, a sloppy work zone, a tight curve. And worse, that constant little correction lulls a driver into only half paying attention. I've ridden in plenty of these with techs who leave the warning on and the steering assist off, because they've felt it fight them through a worn-out construction zone and decided they would rather do the steering themselves. Keep the warning, shut off the active centering if it pulls against you, and stay the one in charge of the wheel. It costs nothing, and it keeps you from half-trusting a system into a pothole and a $134 alignment. Everything up to here has been convenience that mostly costs you comfort and control, but from this point down, every single feature is costing you real money, starting with a maintenance number the manufacturer set high on purpose. Number 5. The 100,000-mile spark plug interval. Open your owner's manual and you'll likely find the spark plugs listed for 100,000 miles or more, which most drivers read as a quiet promise that they never have to think about them. The people who actually turn wrenches on these engines don't wait anywhere near that long, and there are 2 good reasons why. Long before that plug wears out completely, the gap it fires across grows wider, and your ignition coil has to strain harder and harder to jump it, which slowly cooks the coil, while your fuel economy quietly slips. The second reason is nastier. A plug left baking in an aluminum cylinder head for 100,000 miles can seize so tightly that pulling it risks tearing the threads clean out of the head. A landscaper outside Kansas City ran the plugs in his 2016 Ford F-150 right out to the manual's limit, exactly as he was told he could. 2 coils fried from the worn plugs, and 1 plug had welded itself into the head so badly it took careful, expensive labor to free without destroying the threads. $690 by the time the dust settled, on a job that costs about $185 when it's done at 70,000 miles instead. Change your plugs somewhere around 70 to 80,000 miles sooner if it's running rough, and you spare yourself both the dying coils and the seized plug nightmare. That bill lands on you all at once. But the next feature is sneakier. It bleeds money out of your wallet a little at a time, every single time you stop for gas. Number 4. The premium recommended trap. Glance at your fuel door or your manual, and you might see the words premium recommended, and millions of drivers read that as an order and dutifully pay extra at the pump for years. Here's the word almost everyone misses. Recommended is not the same as required. When a manufacturer truly needs premium to protect the engine, the manual says premium required in plain language. And when it only says recommended, your engine's knock sensors will happily adjust to regular fuel with no harm done at all. You give up a sliver of power and mileage so small you will never feel it on the road. And in exchange, you stop pouring money straight down a hole. The American Automobile Association studied exactly this and found drivers waste more than $2 billion a year buying premium gasoline for cars that gain absolutely nothing from it. Read your manual for that one word, and if it says recommended, fill up with regular and keep the difference. That's roughly $12 a tank, which adds up near $340 a year. You've been handing the gas station for nothing. Whatever octane you run, choose a top-tier station for the detergents, because that part actually does protect your engine. Quick reminder while we're putting money back in your pocket, if this is paying off for you, take 1 second and hit that subscribe button, because that's the only thing keeping these videos coming. Number 3. The tire pressure on the door, not the tire. There's a number molded right into the sidewall of your tire, something like 51 psi, and it is one of the most misunderstood numbers on your whole car. That figure is the maximum pressure the tire can safely hold. It is not, and never was, the pressure you're supposed to run. The real number, the one an engineer chose specifically for your car, is printed on a sticker inside the driver's door jamb, balancing your ride, your grip, your tire wear, and how much the car can carry. Go out to your car after this video and open that door. There's a sticker on the jamb with the correct pressures on it. Do you actually know whether the air in your tires right now matches that sticker or the big number stamped on the tire itself? Because if you or some quick lube shop has ever set them to the tire's maximum, you've been riding on rock-hard, center-worn tires that grip worse and pound your suspension. And if they've drifted low instead, you're scrubbing the edges off and inviting a blowout. Set your tire pressure cold to the door jamb number, never the sidewall max, and check it once a month with your own $16 gauge, instead of trusting the line gauge bolted to the air pump at the gas station. Get that wrong and you'll be buying a $760 set of tires long before their time. And notice the pattern, because the manufacturer tells you the truth on that door sticker when it suits them. But where they don't is the fluid waiting at number 1, the one they swear lasts forever, while it quietly eats your engine alive. And we are almost there. Number 2. Lifetime brake fluid. Most drivers will go 10 years and 100,000 miles without ever once changing their brake fluid because nothing in the experience of owning the car ever tells them to. The people who work on brakes for a living flush theirs on a schedule, and the reason comes down to one strange property of the fluid itself. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, which is a fancy way of saying it pulls moisture straight out of the air, slowly soaking up water through the seals and the reservoir year after year. Water in your brake fluid drops its boiling point hard, so when you ride the brakes down a long mountain grade or stand on the pedal in a panic stop, that trapped water can flash to vapor, and vapor squashes down where fluid won't, which means the pedal sinks toward the floor exactly when you need the brakes most. A college student in Tallahassee inherited a 2012 Honda Civic whose brake fluid had never been touched, and on a long downhill, she felt the pedal go soft and mushy under her foot and nearly didn't stop in time. The fluid had turned milky with moisture and had begun corroding the ABS unit from the inside. A $1,180 repair that a simple $129 flush years earlier would have made impossible. Have your brake fluid flushed every 2 to 3 years no matter what the lifetime impression suggests, because this is the cheapest possible insurance on the only system that brings your car to a stop. Brake fluid at least warns you with a soft pedal, but the fluid at number 1 gives you no warning at all. It does its damage completely out of sight, and by the time the gauge on your dash finally moves, the engine is already cooked. Number 1. Lifetime engine coolant. This is the fluid I promised you back at the start, the one your car swears will last the life of the engine, and it's the single most dangerous lie on this entire list. Coolant is not just colored water. It's packed with corrosion inhibitors whose only job is to protect every metal surface they touch: your water pump, your radiator, the block itself, and the delicate heater core buried in the dash. Those inhibitors get used up over the years, and once they're gone, that long-life coolant doesn't just stop protecting. It turns acidic and even electrically conductive, and it begins eating your cooling system alive from the inside out. Here is the cruel part, and the reason it sits at number 1. Your temperature gauge reads perfectly, comfortably normal the entire time this is happening, because the worn-out coolant still carries heat right up until the moment it can't. Take 2 of the same car out to 130,000 miles. The first owner flushed the coolant every 5 years exactly the way the techs quietly do, and the system inside is clean, the water pump sharp, the radiator clear. The second believed the lifetime sticker and never touched it, and now the coolant has gone brown and gritty. The water pump impeller is corroded down to nubs, the radiator is silting shut, and the car is one hot afternoon away from blowing a head gasket. A $3,470 repair born entirely from a fluid that costs $138 to refresh. Flush and refill your coolant with the exact type your engine calls for every 5 years or so. Never mix 2 types together, and the day you see brown or rusty fluid where it should run bright, treat it as the warning the gauge will never give you. 10 features the people who build and fix these cars quietly switch off in their own driveways, and now you can do every one of them yourself, starting tonight. Here's the thread tying this whole list together. The service counter at the dealership is built to sell you the exact opposite of everything you just heard. They'll wave you off the coolant flush, the brake fluid, and the early plugs, then turn right around and sell you a menu of services your car never needed in the first place. I broke down precisely which ones to refuse and which are worth every penny in the video on your screen right now, just off to the side. Click it before your next service appointment and subscribe so the next thing they're not telling you shows up here instead of on your invoice. I'll see you there.